So here we are underneath my 94 K2500 Suburban with the 6.5 liter diesel. And I just got done installing a new oil cooler with stainless steel lines. And that was the big point of doing that. And you can see, I hope you can see those lines right up in there. Get the focus right. With their new fittings and everything and my new filter. And this is a 4x4, which is going to be important in a second here. But the reason I did that is the lines that were on there were leaking like crazy, which you can probably see with the amount of sludge on here from it dripping for years and years. So hopefully these new lines won't leak anytime soon. Yeah, I could have replaced them with new factory style lines and kept the original oil cooler, but the lines are just junk. They would have leaked in a year or so from what I've heard. So this seems like a much better solution to me. Now I did have a couple problems with this installation, and that's what I'm going to go over right now. So it is very tight to get up in there. So the first thing I did is remove that oil filter adapter, which for a 4x4, which you'll notice is no longer there. I just have a filter directly on the engine block now above the drive shaft. Now I didn't take the drive shaft off, but if I had to do this again, I probably would, you know, just for a couple minutes to get that drive shaft off. That's much better than what I was doing, which is just fumbling around and trying to find any little crevice to get a wrench in. So I would just go ahead and take that drive shaft off. Now what they're not going to tell you with these lines is you can see right where they are, right up in here. This is where the filter originally sat with the adapter, because it points forward and it goes horizontally with that adapter. So with those lines in there, I cannot think of any way that you'll get those lines in there and be able to fit the stock filter adapter in there. I tried it. I had it on there this morning like that, and it just leaked everywhere. I wasn't able to seal it correctly because the lines were interfering with the filter. So what I did is I just went down and got this filter, which I can get you the number for it, which is for an early 2000s Chevy with the 8.1 liter gas engine. And now it's a really small filter, so that might be an issue. So keep that in mind. It probably doesn't filter as well, doesn't allow as much flow through. I really don't know. It's building, you know, all I've done is idle it so far, but it is building correct pressure. It's not leaking or anything. So, you know, I think it's fine for now. Maybe I'll just need to change these a little bit more often than I would a normal filter. But it does fit on there. All you have to do is take the little threaded part out of the adapter and then thread it into the engine block and then put the filter on. It's a 24 millimeter socket. Now I've heard online people saying that there's issues with clearance with the drive shaft, and you know, that they had to take the drive shaft off to change the filter once they've done this. That's total nonsense as long as you get the really short filter. There's a couple different brands that make them. They're only about 3 inches tall. As you can see, there's plenty of clearance here. I can get my hand right up in there and onto the filter. I can probably even get a tool on there to remove it when it comes time. It's actually way easier to get to than with the adapter on there, so I'm pretty happy with that. People also mention that, well, if you do this and then you go off-roading and your suspension bottoms out, you're going to smack the filter on the drive shaft. I really can't say if that's true or not. To me, it seems like there's quite a bit of room between the filter and the drive shaft here. But I could see if you bounced the engine like an entire 2 inches, 2 or 3 inches up in the air, I guess maybe you could smack it. That would be bad. I I don't plan on launching this Suburban off any jumps anytime soon, but I guess I'll cross that bridge when I get to it. I will keep an eye on this, both for this and for leaks. So far, I haven't had any leaks with the lines or anything. They're looking pretty good. They're also looking good up front by the oil cooler. So yeah, like I said, I'm pretty happy with it right now, but I will keep an eye on it, and I'll try and update you guys and tell you what's happening. So I think that's the way to go there. You could also get a relocation kit to replace the filter and then just run new lines out to the frame or something. I was looking at some of those kits today, and I wasn't too impressed with what I saw. I guess, they're pretty expensive. It's about another $300. So not really something I'm too interested in doing. And I don't know how the install would go. They mentioned that the lines have to be a different length depending on what body you have. So not really too interested in that. This is a lot easier. Now, one thing you definitely need to do that I haven't seen mentioned anywhere when you replace this, because you're losing so much oil capacity there with the new oil cooler, and those lines are going to be totally empty. You need to unplug this thing before you crank it. This is the fuel shutoff solenoid. So the connector, there's videos on this how to do this, but the connector just goes in there, in there. It's a pain in the butt, but it'll take you 5 minutes to unplug it and then plug it back in once you're done. So unplug that before you start cranking it, because then you can just crank it and build oil pressure without running the engine. It took about 30 seconds for me to build oil pressure in this. So if you just, fire it up and run without oil pressure for 30 seconds, you're in grenading territory for your engine. So I would not do that. I would also unplug the glow plug fuse, and I'll show you that here. So in the cab here in the driver's seat, you've got your fuse box. The glow plug fuse is right here. So just pull that out at the same time that you unplug the fuel shutoff solenoid, and that'll just help you crank it over without starting it. Now over here on the grill, we've got the new oil cooler right in here, and it's hard to see, I know, but here's the fittings for those stainless steel lines. They are the same on each end, so it doesn't matter which way you route the hoses. I will say the hoses for this, I don't know if I would get this specific kit. There's another one that has rubber hoses. That one might be the one to get, because this one, the hose is kinked on me quite a bit working them in there, and it seems to be fine. It's still building pressure. It's not leaking, so maybe that's not an issue, but it was pretty hard to route them because they don't bend that well. They didn't feel great when I was putting them in place, and one of them didn't seem to be long enough. So I had a real hard time getting one of these lines. Now I'll see if I can show you how they got routed underneath here. Well, sort of. Yeah, so that one on the right there was just basically too short. So it was really hard to get in there. I was able to get it connected, but that shouldn't be the case. I know some of these body styles are different, and maybe they weren't sure, which length. Maybe for, a regular truck, it's, you know, pickup, it's fine. But for this, you know, my Suburban, it just really was too short. The other, you know, this one on the left here was fine. It was actually too long, so I didn't use one of the, you know, 45-degree adapters on the oil cooler. I just connected it up directly. So yeah, but overall, now that I've got the kit installed, I'm glad I did it, and it's not a bad kit. I think these, you can see the lines down in there, those stainless lines, they're pretty much a straight run. It wasn't too hard to route them. Just like I said, the length was a little bit of an issue. And bending them was pretty challenging. So yeah, I would recommend a kit like this. Maybe look around at what's available. You can just get new lines also and not, you know, keep your same oil cooler, but the price, it's only like $50 different or something. So I would just go ahead and get the full kit with a new oil cooler, because why not? You know, it's a better unit. So yeah, so if you do want to, this is definitely a good upgrade to do. Hopefully stop all those leaks, and it won't blow out on you. So hopefully this was helpful, and if you have any questions on it or anything, just leave a comment and I'll try to let you know anything you need to know. So thanks for watching. Oh, and here's the filter I use. This is a Napa one. Seems like a pretty good filter. It was just the right length. If you are going to buy one online, just make sure it's a short one. Should be about 3 inches in height. Yeah, or if you get one at the store, even better, because you can look at it beforehand.